Hello, guys, interhumans of the interwebs. I'm trying the whole hotkey thing, so that's been a bit interesting today. Yeah, I'm not good at hotkeys usually. I'm one of those basic people that love using a mouse. Anyway, I just kind of jumped into this one because usually they give me this little prompt video beforehand and like kind of like a countdown or whatever, but when you do the hotkey it just like jumps in. So that was a whole experience that I wasn't necessarily completely ready for. um Drink some water, your body will thank you. um okay, so today's topic, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm probably gonna end up having to find all the YouTube videos of whatever comes out of my brain because I have been having a week. Well, it's actually like so much longer than a week, but it's like especially this week has been something quite spectacularly interesting to deal with. But again, as always, somehow my week magically feeds into these things, just like somehow. And without calling it exactly that, the topic of this week obviously is like, can genius be created or destroyed? The reason I did it that way was kind of on the whole principles of. Sorry. I really like Newton and his laws, especially the third law that matter cannot be created or destroyed, only changed. Like, actually, is that even the third law? No, I think the third law. Yeah, the third law is natural law. I can't remember. It is one of Newton's laws. I'm sorry that I'm so like brain fartedly dumb right now. But yeah, so Newton's law doesn't matter. The point is that matter can be destroyed or created. It can't be destroyed or created. It can only be changed. And by the same principle, then, my brain wants to tell me that genius falls into that same category. The reason that I do think so and say so, and like I'm going to extend on it eventually, but the big thing is that I was recently at work, like sitting in the smoking section as we do, because like we all work in the medical field and apparently we all need to smoke sometimes. But so we were all sitting there and like the one lady, she's like, yeah, she's a pretty legit. I don't want to give too much detail on these people's lives, but yeah, so she belongs to what they call documentary club. And in documentary club, her and a bunch of friends come together and they like watch a documentary once a month or whatever, or once a week, I can't even remember. But this time they watched a documentary called Queen of Chess, which immediately my ears were like, hang on, because I remember that series, Queen's Gambit, which obviously my little. Apparently I can use that word again, but I'm not going to take a risk. But my brain just went with all the happy because I was like, wait a minute. The girl from Queen's Gambit was real. She was a real person. Okay, obviously they took creative liberties with the story and they changed it a little bit, but she was a real person. She was one of three daughters born to a family in Hungary at a particularly rough time in the country's history, like financially and such. And her father decided that genius can be created. And he decided he was going to like focus on one principle, and he was going to just teach his kids this one thing. Like he decided to do the whole homeschooling thing, which was very controversial at the time. I think this was like in the 1970s. And so it was big, like bad news. And then just to take it that much further, the fact that he chose the special interest for his kids to be chess. And back in those years, girls weren't allowed to play chess. Or even if they were, girls had to be in their tournaments and guys got their own tournaments. Like, it wasn't something that you could, like, cross contaminate with. And this man literally, like, they were, like I said, they came from, like, a super impoverished, like, country, like, well, at the time, Hungary. And I think they had four different chess tutors that came in daily, and then they still did like their schoolwork and stuff in between as well, because like you still have to maintain that type of stuff. But like their main focus in life was chess. And the daughter with the least interest in the chess, and the youngest daughter, ended up being the daughter who actually rewrote the history of chess as we know it today. The one that they made the movie, based the series Queen's Gambit of. But they actually did now on Netflix also bring out the documentary Queen of Chess, which is the more real story of her life, which I think is bloody brilliant if you ask me. So back to the topic at hand though, like that's where it came from. It came from this documentary. But like if you go, what I want to go back to is like where this topic started. Because if you think about it, when we look at today's society and things going on in our day-to-day lives and the people we encounter and stuff, and even just going on the internet at this point, oftentimes you find yourself saying like, what happened to common sense? And the thing is that common sense, I think, is very much something you need to be taught. I don't think common sense is something you can develop. But how do you develop something like common sense? And like this is something that I worked with kind of extensively when I was still teaching. Was the fact that like I had a bunch of kids in my class that came from really rural backgrounds. Like these kids came from areas around Cape Town that was not the healthiest environment for a kid to grow in. A lot of these kids were like 16, 17 years old, never passed grade 5. They read on like not even a grade R level. It was really bad. And just a little bit of attention, just that little bit extra. Like the center that I was working at, we put in a lot of effort to try and make the curriculum more versatile in a sense that we tried to teach all the materials but not necessarily keep it structured the way that the CAPS curriculum, because like it was actually a Cambridge center, so like we had the CAPS students from South Africa and we decided like we're gonna try to help these kids in a bit of a more open-ended way than the kind of cookie cutter copy and paste version of the South African curriculum that exists. So then these kids came there, and like I said, they were like not even beginning to pass their grades. Like they were literally it was so bad. And we tried this new approach. We tried to kind of like integrate kind of a Montessori principle into how the kids were being taught, along with trying to keep it on caps because that's the only thing their parents could afford. And also we had some external sponsors who also could only like afford for the kids to be doing the caps per curriculum, not the Cambridge one. And within the first school term, we saw kids go from a 20 percentile grade average to 50 and 70%. Like we actually had kids going as high as 80% within one term, like one school term. And immediately everybody was like, but how do you guys do that? And it's like the very big thing of like, which one do you believe in? Do you believe in nature or do you believe in nurture? Maybe I'll put in a poll for that one. I don't know if there's enough people here. I don't know how to watch it. How do you do this crap again? Oh, yeah. as I said, I'm figuring out hotkeys. So there's that. I think that's going to load it. Okay. So there's like an excited face and a cry face. So just because I need to do things in alphabetical order, the excited face is going to be nature and the crying face is going to be nurture. So like if there's enough people to vote, that will be cool. If there's not enough people, that's fair enough as well. But I'm going to start the poll now and just kind of like keep it in the background. But yeah, nature on the left hand side with the little excited face, or nurture on the cry face side. Which one do you think is more prevalent? I might actually keep doing this poll a few times throughout this thing, because like I really want to see how people weigh on this one. But yes, these kids came from really really bad backgrounds. I don't usually use the word bad, but like I can't think of another word right now. But and they were really able to make a difference. Well, I guess we were, but like it wasn't us, it was them as well. They just needed the resources, they just needed the time, they just needed the support, they just needed something to make them feel like their lives were a little bit more worth it. And then what happened was, oh wait, I have to stop this thing. Guys, I'm still trying to figure out how these prompts and things work. I'll get there. Anyway, so going back to the whole nature versus nurture thing, when you look back on history, there was a period like the Renaissance. Like everybody knew about the Renaissance. The Renaissance was this like era, and it was literally where it got its name from. It was a renaissance of culture and of study and art and engineering, and like everything was just wow all at the same time. And it's just what was different then to what is happening now? That's like my big question on this one, is what is different? Well, let's look back at someone like that we know enough about, like Leonardo da Vinci, for example. Very famous polymath. I don't know how many people know him. I assume a lot of people know him because he's pretty freaking famous. And if you don't know him specifically, you know the Vitruvian Man, which he drew. But I really can't think that someone doesn't know who he is. But anyway, so what happened with him? Like, he was born to a woman, like out of wedlock by this rich accountant dude, and the we don't know much about his mom, because like he ended up going to live with his father, and they saw that he has innate talent for art and engineering. So what did they do? They ended up putting him inside of the school, in Verrocchio's school, to like teach him about art, and he flourished. He surpassed his master within the first couple of years of being there. He turned into one of the most famous artists we ever known. Oh yeah, the Mona Lisa, I guess that's more famous than the Vitruvian Man. Anyway, so like he turned into this like absolute like god of culture and engineering. And I'm just wondering, like, we don't have that many geniuses anymore. And if you think about it, geniuses usually, like, even if you look at, okay, I know it's like a TV show, but like Little Sheldon, for example, that is very much a valid thing. They saw this kid was different and they put in effort to make his life cool. They made his life better. They feed it into his interests. When they saw that and that was something that happened when I was born still, like in the 90s. It still happened back then, where like if you were too smart for your grade, they would like push you ahead in grades and stuff. I don't think that's something you're allowed to do anymore, really, unless you're like beyond exceptional in something. And like usually that's also because of extra effort and extra input. And that's the thing though, like, what happens to a lot of child prodigies? child prodigies do really well as children when everybody's putting everything in to like help them achieve this like thing, this magical thing. But then the moment they get older, they're not that cute anymore. And the moment that happens, they stop performing. Usually around your teen years, because I won't say that I was a genius by any means. I don't even want to go into the direction of trying to guess if I could have turned into one. But I did definitely have like a lot of merit as a young person. And then suddenly one day I became this angsty teen that didn't want to do jack and didn't want to perform, and I was just done and I was just tired. And I think that's what happens to a lot of the kids, because like you can't just perform in the thing that you're good at. Because the thing that I was really good at was math and computers. I was exceptionally good at math. Like my entire like school career, I've got like certificates. I don't have the trophies because I was in a public school, and at the end of the year you have to give the trophy back. Thank you for the likes. I love likes. You guys are awesome. Oh yeah, I learned a sticky key for that. Hang on, I'm gonna try to do the thing. I don't know if that actually works though. I'm just gonna see what it does. But anyway, I don't know if these things work. Anyway, so what happened was like I was really, really good at math, but I wasn't allowed to just do math. I had to do all the 11 other subjects. I think it was 11. Let me try and count. So it was math. Then we had Afrikaans and English, because you have to do your languages, you know. Then we had life orientation. Then we had natural sciences. We had like geography. We had history. We had, what else did we have? If there's a South African here that remembers all the subjects we're forced to take in school, that'll be great if you could just like add that in, because I can't remember. But anyway, in South Africa you get forced to take a bunch of subjects, and I know in other schools and in other countries you also do. And it's like, if I was maybe allowed, I'm kind of glad that I didn't just do math, though, on the one side. But, like, I always had curiosity about science, like, in general. Like, science was, like, kind of my thing. I still remember I had this one oral that I had to do in grade 3, standard 1, for those who still remember that stuff. And the teacher let us kiss. My best friend just joined. How was that, Marie? Anyway, so the teacher, okay, she joined and then she left. But anyway, my teacher let us choose the subject that we were going to be talking on ourselves. And I asked her if I was allowed to use a puppet. And I wish I kind of still had this puppet. It was like a Kermit the Frog imitation puppet. It was really cheap and like whatever, because we didn't have a lot of money. But my oppa knew that I loved Kermit, so he got me this. And my oppa also got me the science book that taught me about light refraction. And it had taught me why the sky was blue. Like the whole prism effect thing, and that like ultraviolet is like the brightest light, so therefore it turns blue. But anyway, and like did you know there's places in the world where the sky isn't blue because the blue light isn't the brightest one? It's so cool. Anyway, going back. Yeah, so I did like a whole ass oral in 3rd grade about why the sky was blue. And that was like who I was, like, and I loved words. Oh my gosh, because like I was always finished with my schoolwork before other kids as well. So my teacher always let me read all the books in the class. And eventually I ran out of books, so I started reading the dictionaries. And she eventually started calling me my wandelende woordeboek, which literally means like my wandering dictionary. And it was like that was like the trajectory. Like people thought that I was gonna be like something. That's my beastie. And people thought I was gonna be something magical. Like everybody had these high hopes for me. Like even my government name, I was named for my oppa, who also is like who this tattoo is dedicated to. And like I just like, everybody had these high hopes for me because my birth name actually means voice among the people. And everybody always thought like I was going to be this person. I was going to be someone so great. But what they didn't realize was that I couldn't just focus on the things that could make me great. I had to focus on all of it. I was forced to partake in sports because that's how South Africa works. You have to compete in competitive sports. Thank you for more likes. I like likes. And like I was forced to compete in sport. And now I don't mean like you can just go once a week or whatever. In South Africa, you practice sport 2 days a week after school, and then you have a match in one day in the week, and you usually had matches on weekends as well. So most of your after school was covered by going to sports matches. And I was kind of good at hockey, so I ended up being in quite a lot of matches. And then you still had to have time for your homework. You still had to have time for your tasks. And it wasn't like you could choose your tasks or your homework based on the stuff that you were interested in. You had to complete all of it. And let's just be fair. I love math that pertains to science as long as the science has nothing to do with money, because money is a fallacy, and that is why I have Zanmarie, because Zanmarie has a financial brain and I do not. I have the other kind of math. Zanmarie's got the mental, has the money math, and I've got the mental, the other math. We that's why we're really good best friends, because like both of us have like 2 different types of math. And it's just like been so interesting growing up after and meeting other people like me, because unfortunately, yes, once upon a time I did go off of the road, as we've seen actors do, as we've seen, like, you don't even know this, but it happens in the science community as well. It happens in chess. It happens in, like, there's no industry where at some point someone is being pushed too hard and they need to feel better. And the problem is that in our modern times, feeling better comes in a very neatly packaged little box that's not always that hard to obtain. So, yeah, like, most of the people I met had, like, such a similar story to me. And people I continue meeting, because, like, once you've been there, it's, like, really easy to kind of meet more people that are still there or have been there. It's like a whole thing. And it's interesting to see how many of us have the same story, that like we just couldn't keep up with it all, because we weren't less talented, we weren't less like than anything that we were. Like, I mean, I'm here talking to you. I didn't do research for shit this week. I don't script. Like, if it was ever a thing that I could figure out doing and anybody doubted it, I could share my screen with you guys and you could see, like, I really don't script these things. I just kind of go literally on what I remember. And, that's apparently quite a lot sometimes. I surprise myself when I reach the hour mark every week because of that. But, it's still there, but it was just not cultivated enough. And I always wonder, like, were it cultivated? If it was something that ended up being treated as something that needs to be nurtured, instead of something that just exists and therefore is an expectation, I kind of wonder where that would have gone. Because, no, I think people know this. I don't know how many people know this. The people that have been on my profile, the people who know me might know. I don't know. But I have a twin sister. I'm one of identical twins, actually. Like, not fraternal twins. We're single-cell identical twins. And our lives are very different. We have a few, like, and I think that's why, like, things like psychology and the whole nature versus nurture and all of that kind of, like, fascinates me so much in life, because we both very much followed a completely different life trajectory. She's married for and with her partner for 13 years now. They have like property. They've got a very they've got a very different life to me. Let me just put it that way. And because I don't want to talk too much about her life, just mentioning her is like, because I like consent, and like I didn't necessarily ask her consent before because I didn't even think about the fact that she might come up in this kind of conversation, which duh she would, but I didn't think of that far ahead at all. And I'm also sitting here trying not to vape on camera because I'm like hoping nothing. But I did make this thing 18 and I'm not trying to monetize anything, so I think I should be fine, but still anxiety. Anyway, she doesn't smoke, by the way. Twin sister, identical single cell twin sister, doesn't smoke at all. Like, not smoke. Also, epitome of grace. We actually always have this like this joke, because like both of us very much like this like 50 chic couture type thing, but like I'm very much more the pinup girl style, so like the whole Marilyn Monroe vibe, whereas she's more like that Audrey Hepburn and Jackie O and Coco Chanel. Like she's got that like swag, she's got that demure way of dressing, like she can do the swanky dresses and the pretty makeup. She does makeup really pretty, actually, yeah. But, like, she's the one that's got, like, the skill to look like a girl from Vogue. Whereas I'm very much more the girl that you'll see on, like, the tattoo mag. So, yeah. And both grew up in the same house. Same people around. Again, don't want to talk too much on her life because, like, as I said, I didn't ask her consent beforehand. But yeah, she very much, hi guys, I'm so sorry that I don't acknowledge people more, I'm sorry, but like I try to stay on track. But yeah, the thing is that did I say hi? I said hi. Okay, I'm figuring this thing out. I'm gonna keep trying to say hi to people. Yeah, so we're two twin sisters, same mom, same dad, same household, at least until like a decent part into our lives, and even in between sometimes it happened. And we're just really different people. But then people also kind of always treated the two of us very, very differently, because of the fact that our personalities were so different. And like I often kind of wonder if our personalities being so different, guys, I'm just like mass highing at the moment as much as I can because like I'm just trying to be better at this, but I'm wondering like if the personality thing would count more as nature, or if that would be something that counts as like a developmental thing based on the nurture. And maybe this is like a good point to kind of bring in this freaking poll again that I'm trying to get answers on. So again, the excited face is nature. The cry laugh face is nurture. So on the left is going to be nature and then nurture. It's just because of the alphabetical order. I didn't choose the faces. I'm just going to let that run again for a little bit just to see. Because I'm really trying to figure out if people, like, what people think on this. Because I know it's, like, a really difficult conversation. And that, like, a lot of people don't actually, don't really have an idea of what direction they kind of want to go in with this. Because if you vote for nature, people always have a way of like debating in nurture. Because again, like the thing with me and my sister, is it just the fact that our personalities were so different, aka our natures were so different that it caused two very different lives? Or was our nature the thing that influenced the nurture element? Because our natures are so different, people around us maybe ended up like maybe that's the thing that ended up like kind of causing us to be treated differently because of not or ending up differently. So our nature was maybe the what type of phone you on, babe? I'm not on a phone, I'm on a laptop. And I'm also pretty soon gonna like I bought a cable to kind of connect my Nikon also for this stuff, just for better like video quality and stuff, because it's about to get winter in South Africa and already the sun's quite far down. I've got like so much light coming in here just to like have some kind of light in this room because it's the worst. But yeah, like again, okay, at least I have a vote this time. Okay, I'll just keep like restarting the nature versus nurture thing. So again, nature on the left, nurture on the right. So I'm just keeping it alphabetical the whole time. So one person voted for nature this time. I like the vibe of the camera. That's why I'm asking. Oh, cool. Thanks so much. Yeah, no, it's just like a whole thing that just kind of exists. I don't know how to change it at this point. It's also like I've got this little alcove thing that my camera like computer is in, so like I still have to like figure out a way to kind of like bring my Nikon into the thing. That's why it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, so I see people are like, again, there's someone for the nurture side, for the nature side. But like, yeah, so I just, that's like my big thing though, that I'm trying to figure out all of the time is, was our nature the thing that drove our nurture to kind of like drive our lives? Or was it always just the nature? Was it always just nature communicating on our behalf? And it makes it really difficult because like, and I think that's why they always like to use identical twins. Unfortunately, there are names that I cannot say on the interwebs. What are you live streaming on? It's on the nurture, Liam. Thanks for your question. It's on the nature versus nurture debate, and how I think that a great element of nurture follows us through our lives. I don't think everything is inherently nature. I do think that we like to hold on to the crutch of blaming things on someone's nature. But the thing is, oftentimes we kind of, because of someone's nature, we have certain biases and certain ways that we choose to treat them. And I feel like that falls into the nurture category. I don't think that falls onto nature. Yeah, you can blame their nature for your reaction, but the thing is, your reaction is your responsibility, not theirs. So to me, that kind of like squarely falls onto the nurture side of things. And I just don't know how to like think otherwise about that. And it's like, that's why I like doing these lives as well, because I really like finding out what other people have to say. Not that I've had like too many comments over the last couple of weeks, which is a little bit sad, but it's also still fun doing these. But yeah, so nature versus nurture, because like I have an identical twin sister, and I've recently become aware of the fact that the movie Idiocracy was maybe a little bit more than a screenplay. It's kind of starting to feel a little bit like a prophecy. And the thing is, as someone that was an educator before I got sick, it was something that I noticed, especially in the last center that I worked at. It wasn't even too late for these kids. Like, some of these kids came to us and they were already teenagers with like grade school level reading and writing and stuff. And within within a term, their grade point averages went up. Their quality of life went up. Their mood went up. And that was nurture. That wasn't their nature. because based on the people who were the reason that they ended up trying to be rehabilitated with us, was they said these kids are unteachable. They called them things like morons. Good day, what are you talking about at this moment? Still nature versus nurture, and how I think that nurture is probably the only way forward in this world, to kind of like try and find some more geniuses. The more I think, the more I'm leaning towards nurture. Yeah. Because the thing is, if you think about like human nature, what is human nature? Human nature, as any nature, is your base primal instincts. And I know a lot of people are like iffy when it comes to Mr. Freud, but I love me some Mr. Freud, because Mr. Freud started a lot of things. Well, he wasn't really a mister, he was a doctor. But it doesn't matter. The point is, Sigmund Freud developed the threefold developmental psychology pattern. The ego, the superego, and the id. So this is the only part where I'm going to struggle now, because like I can never remember which one is. I think the id, yeah, the id was the one where you're like animalistic. That's when you're like a little like tiny tot person, that like the only things that you're thinking on is the things that exist to keep you alive. I must be warm. I must poop. I must drink. I must eat. Like, that is what you're focusing on. That is all you're caring about. That is your id. Yeah, and then the super ego is the secondary function. That's when you start learning about rules. And this is especially like the point where you usually can like kind of pick up that a kid might be autistic, because in their super ego, they will go like balls to the wall to keep to the rules. Like, these are the kids that are walking around and telling all the other kids, like, don't do it that way. We're not supposed to do it that way. No, you can't put the blue blocks in the red bucket. Like, that's like, superego is where you care what others think of you, and rule-based. Yes, so that's like that's what we usually use as a diagnostic tool for kids with autism, because kids with autism especially, usually they take this too far, because like normal kids will like, if they have like rules that, and you tell them, oh thanks, no, it's cool, Winter Angel, thanks so much for talking along, I love it. So what happens is that these kids with autism especially, they tend to be the kid that like, it's not enough for you to have a situation where the teacher gave us these rules. Will do. So it's not enough that you give them these sets of rules. These sets of rules are now God. And any kid who step outside of these sets of rules, these are the those kids are now the worst thing that could ever exist, because the cars should be in a straight line. No, like, it's okay. The cars can just go inside the box. No, the cars can't go inside the box. The cars need to go into the box from biggest to smallest. No, I'm not an American. I lived in America. And I kind of got a bit of a twang, but I am very much South African, Afrikaner, gebore en grootgemaak. So yeah, sorry guys, I try to get to the comments as much as possible in between as well. So thank you guys for talking along. I really, really appreciate it when you guys do that. It really makes these so much more fun for me. But yeah, so like the for the autistic kid, for example, on the superego side, it's never going to be enough just to put it in the container. He adds or she adds their own extra set of rules. And now all of the kids are trying to pack away, and then it's not enough. No. Don't help me. Please don't help me, because you're doing it wrong. Because it has to be the blue car first, then the red car, then the yellow car. It can't be all the cars smashed in all at the same time. But yeah, so like that's the nature of autism, for example. And then you can nurture that by like teaching them structural things to like help them with these compulsions, for example. And then the ego, like let me not forget the ego. The ego is supposedly supposed to be Everybody has a bit of autism in themselves, but the ego keeps it in check. Exactly. So this is where like things get a bit dicey, so though, because ego can be such a very difficult developmental part of your life, because your ego development is based on all of the external influences in your lives, not just on you. It's based on what's coming in from outside. And when it comes to what's coming in from outside, there are a lot of things that people don't even think about. Like, okay, this kid is struggling with language learning. Why is that? People love running towards like, oh no, they must be like an imbecile. Oh, okay, we do the ear testing thing as a standard because apparently more and more kids now need grommets. But beyond that though, usually a big part of language development that people don't realize is emotional stress. Have you ever, as a, like, because I'm a second language speaker, I speak Afrikaans. I was born Afrikaans. Ek praat Afrikaans. So I speak Afrikaans as my general language, but like because I've been traveling a bit, I've gotten more comfortable in speaking English. But still, a lot of times, if I become completely emotionally dysregulated, you better bet your ass I'm going to be swearing in Afrikaans. I'm going to be putting Afrikaans sentences in there, especially a very specific 3-letter phrase that we all love to use here in Cape Town. I have dealt with thanks, Winter Angel. I have dealt with a lot of autistic children, beautiful souls, hyperfixated, but can't deal with emotions. Yeah, so I'm a late diagnosed Asperger's, which made a lot of sense when it happened. Not something I went to look for, but it did make sense at the time when it like actually did come through, because like yeah. But like also I worked with special needs kids, so yes, same. And the thing that makes emotional regulation, especially for autistic kids and adults, so extremely difficult is not necessarily because a lot of people think autistic people don't have feelings, and that's not the case. It doesn't actually have anything to do with how that. If anything, we feel too much, because every sensation we feel is like the most intense thing that we possibly ever could possibly feel in our entire lives. And yeah, I can give a voice, and I love that I have that platform now, like developing it with all of this. So yeah, like the thing is, it's not that we don't have emotions, it's that we don't know how to communicate our emotions, because from the age of like inception, we're always told that we're too much, you're too loud, you're embarrassing us. Are you gonna be wearing that? Oh my god, what are you doing? Eat your food. Like, nothing we do is ever the right thing to do. And I sometimes wonder, like I was talking about earlier with me and my twin sister, so my nature is obviously closer to that, like it's like the autistic nature, whereas my twin sister, I can't talk too much on her diagnoses and things, as like I said, like I don't have like consent to do so, so like I would not feel comfortable doing that. But like she has a very opposite experience to mine, and we both have compulsions though. We have compulsive tendencies on both like of our things, but like very different when it comes to the way we execute it, very different in the way we do things. And I sometimes wonder if, like, again, back to the whole nature versus nurture side of it, my nature is more chaotic, I guess is the best way to say it. But it's not like chaotic in a bad way. I remember saying it's like having all the emotions all at once and no one can hear you. Exactly, yeah. Because it's not even just emotions. Like, it's literally every physical sensation. Like right now, as I'm sitting here, I am extremely aware, and that's why I keep fidgeting, because like I'm really aware of what my toes are doing at all times, because that's like a fixation that I have. Like, can't do toes. like the feet fingers thing. It's like a thing that whoa. That's why I like socks. I like socks a lot because socks are safe. Can't see toes if I have socks on. Yes, it is creative. I always say it's not a disability, it's another ability. And there's actually a really cool documentary that I watched on how autism is the next form of evolution. I'll try to find it because, like, usually when I post the highlight reel, I always try to include, like, relevant links to, like, things that I remember as I'm talking. So I'll try to do that again. And then, but yeah, so I always wonder, cause like she definitely had like more of a achieving nature. Whereas like I have like a bit more of a, as you say, not chaotic, but creative nature. I had a child who was hyper fixated on cutting paper. So I taught him, oh, that's really cool. Yeah. I like that idea a lot. I love it when people like, I love it. No, I'm not letting any puppies out. Puppies stay in socks because toes be bad. Um, but yeah, so like, I just wonder, if our, not talking. Oh no. Don't do that. This is supposed to be a safe space. Don't do that. Anyway, but yeah, so to me it's just like trying to get back to the whole nature versus nurture thing. Is that we very much had two very different natures. And that often, in many ways, ended up leading to us being treated and perceived very differently by people. Because people, how did it feel getting a tattoo? It was probably, so I wanted tattoos, which high school OG. No, it's just a laptop. I love how everybody's asking about this like horrible camera my laptop has. It's just my laptop. Just yeah. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna deviate now because like I'm enjoying the line of questioning that you're asking, Winter Angel. So with the tattoo, it's actually something that I wanted from when I was super super small. Because my oppa was in the Navy, and I'm here from South Africa. Sorry, I'm also trying to in between answer, but my oppa had a Navy tattoo, and my whole life, like actually had two of them. The one looked like he had this lady on his arm, and then when he like flexed his hand, it looked like her bums were shaking. It was kind of cute. And then it's just something I wanted my entire life. It's like the one thing I always, always, always wanted. And when I was little, my mom always said, you will never have a tattoo. If you want to get a tattoo, you have to be 21. And if you're not 21, you can't do it because like being 21 in South Africa, you get like this key on your birthday. So it's kind of like your parents give you the keys to your life in a way. So, yeah, I waited till my 21st birthday and then I got this one. And, it says, Korreltjie niks is my dood, which is actually, from a poem written by Ingrid Jonke in the time that she lived. She's my favorite poet. And, like, I would have loved for her to stay alive long enough for me to be able to have, like, seen more of it. Yes, I'm still in South Africa. I just traveled to America for quite a long time, and it kind of who's your bestie from high school? I don't know, a Big Joe. So how? Anyway, yeah, so I am still like a South African. I've always been a South African. It just kind of like changed when I was teaching and when I was like traveling a lot. But yeah, so to get back to the tattoo thing, from the first tattoo I ever got on my body, I was just like, this was always meant for me. I just knew that this was going to be an art form that was going to capture my soul even before my first ink went onto my skin. And then it just stayed something that I absolutely love. And maybe to expose a little bit about myself, I have a history of self-harm. Also got my survivor tattoo kind of like integrated into a bracelet on the side. So yeah, like it's been something that's helped me communicate with an art form that I really enjoy. I used to design my own tattoos, and then I actually found an artist more recently. I hate people cutting my hair. Oh my god, that is possibly like the worst thing a human could ever do to me. Like I have, however, like once in a while found someone that I'm okay with cutting my hair, but I usually try to like do my own hair because of the fact that I don't like people touching my hair. I also like don't like people touching like around my ears at all. But which is ironic because I can't do the whole like earplug headphone thing. I have to do like the outside like the muffler earphones because like it's um yeah I actually had to lose my because my hair has been growing a lot, mostly because like I have now lost my faithful hairdresser because she's like 4 hours away from me and I can't drive that far just to have my hair done. So yeah, it's been a journey with the with the hair, especially because like I very much do like having like pretty cool cuts. Like I can show you like because I usually cut this side short, so like there's like remnants there of my hair that used to have an undercut that's just like kind of grown out now because like I don't have someone I trust to like do that, so it just kind of goes behind the ear all the time now because it's just like not great for me. But yeah, on that note of like sensory issues and things, I do need to get to a point where I'm gonna start wrapping up. Mostly because like when it gets to 5 minutes before the live ends, there's this really loud alarm that goes off and it always freaks me out. Do you have the OCD or anything else? Yeah, I haven't been diagnosed with OCD, but I definitely have the obsession, like the compulsion side of it. Like when it comes to like I can only eat with certain forks and spoons, I can only eat with certain like crockery. If I wash, that's why I only use bar soap. That and the fact that like it helps my skin for my FND. But if I have to use any pump action anything, if it's hand soap, I have to do 5 pumps. If it's like body soap or shampoo, especially shampoo needs to have 12 pumps and conditioner needs to have 10 pumps. And if it's soap that goes on my body, I have to do 8 pumps. And like, so it's like, it's just, yeah, it's a thing. So you kind of like learn the things that work for you. So I like switched over to completely using bar soap because it just makes my life so much easier. And my whole family also know like I have certain cups and certain like plates and forks and knives and spoons, and even my friends, my best friend especially is like really good with this. Like she helps me a lot with my stuff because she also knows that I have like my weird little thingies. I sent her no, it wouldn't irritate me. Like I usually just read at the bottom because like the top things are still very confusing for me. So I always like just kind of like focus at the very bottom of the sentences coming in, because the top stuff, there's like a lot of numbers and things happening there. So it's like it gets really confusing. But thanks for that, Angel. But yeah, like it's coming to the point where the alarm's gonna go off now. So I'm gonna have to start switching. I don't think I'm gonna make it in time. But thank you guys for joining. I know we got a bit distracted there towards the end. But I will post again. Like, I try to do these lives around the same time every week on a Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30 South African time. I do post as many links and things as I can when I do share the highlight reel. Oh my god, I'm just scared of this thing going off. When I share the highlight reel, I try to like share as much information as possible. I also like started doing YouTube, like back posting these on YouTube, but I'll put all the links and stuff in there. But yeah, go check my profile. As I said, all the info and stuff is there. I'm gonna go now before this thing screams at me again. But thank you guys really, really so much for coming, and I really enjoyed this. I really enjoy doing these things, and see you soon. Love you.